today for the 31 Days of Dread. Imagine a human-fairy war. Imagine the war that the humans win. And they put the fairies in a hole. And the fairies lose their magic, they lose their power, and a couple centuries go by. And then a crazy old guy, a scientist, someone who likes to discover things, he finds out about these fairies. He builds an institution. He builds a base that can study the fairies. But guess what? You can't look at the fairies. You can't look at them. So there's a big mirror. And here we go. We have all the imagery that we know from the Watchers. And we have a bunch of people in the cube surrounded by glass with a mirror. And there's a lot of mystery after we see this movie trailer. But we got a lot more to talk about other than the plot of this movie. Sorry guys, for the 31 Days of Dread, I just spoiled this whole movie during our intro. Let's get through it. We're going to talk about it. It's M. Night, baby. It's October, and it's time for the 31 Days of Dread. This is where you get one horror movie a day for the entire month of October. That's how much we love horror. That's how much we love Halloween on the Film Buff Podcast. And here's the crazy thing. This is the longest running horror event in all of podcasting. So get ready. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to scare our socks off. And yes, we're going to be grabbing some candy. Maybe some cereal. Let's go. I hope you're enjoying all of these episodes, AKAPADers. Team AKAPAD. I love you all. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for helping me. Thank you guys for actively producing the greatest movie podcast of the modern day. I'm sorry, guys. We actually watch and talk about these movies. Once in a while, we need the help of Wikipedia. So I'm looking at it right now. M. Night Shyamalan from PA, from Philadelphia. You know, that's where we reside. So I think it's fitting that the greatest movie reviewer of our generation, myself, the Film Buff, aka Pad, and M. Night, who I really do consider one of the greatest of our time, of his generation, because he makes this movie for $30 million. The movie grosses $30 million, but it's got Dakota Fanning, and there's nothing Dakota Fanning is not good in, and she's great in this movie. The fairies shapeshift, and very quickly, the character with all the exposition and explanations and the knowing arms, it's quite clear. It's quite clear to pick out that character is a shapeshifter. Now, there's another twist to that down the road, and there are some shapeshifting twists as we get into our finale. But that doesn't take away from the movie's cool factor. It doesn't take away from how engaged you are in this movie. How not totally of a slow drip, but it is tense. It's taut. It's M. Night. We have a ton of background. We have a big story. This is a great movie to put with Lady in the Water. It really is. These modern day fantasies where he corrupts mythology into something horrific. I'm there. I like the fairies in this movie. I like the take. I like the positioning. I like the gotchas. I like the characters. I like the pursuit. Where we have a great scene where we all escape. Everyone escapes. Everyone run through the forest. The little fairy guys are coming after us, and if the sun drops too far below that horizon, we are all doomed, and we gotta make it to the boat, because guess what? Fairies don't like water, which is somewhat of a theme, because we're gonna be talking about, or we may have already done it on the 31 Days of Dread, but A Quiet Place, those guys don't like water either. Neither do these fairies. But it doesn't matter, because we get this giant idea that the fairies are back in the world at the end of this movie. That the fairies kind of could be anyone. That the fairies are slowly gaining their power back. Guys, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of big ideas, and it all gets communicated. One of the reasons I'm able to vocalize it so well to all of you is because M. Night laid it out. But here we go. Welcome to the modern age, because we get some bad reviews, right? I think the suckers at 30% are in that horrible Rotten Tomato website, which we really don't quote, we really don't cite. But this time, we're going to cite it. Only because people don't know how to watch M. Night movies. They really don't. Everyone's still hung up. I honestly, God, I feel this. They're still hung up on Sixth Sense. They really are. People miss the point of Signs. Another great in-universe trilogy with the Unbreakable split. Great trilogy there. This guy has done it all. But people still do not know how to watch his movies because they always look for perfect explanations, perfect hooks, perfect endings, and just kind of like fireworks at the end of the flick. This movie doesn't give you that. But M. Night is one of the minds of the modern film age. I mean, we're talking about 2 M. Night movies on this year's 31 Days of Dread because guess what? The Watchers doesn't quite pop, but his next movie does. Trap. And Trap is such a big, fun, giant idea. Is it horror? Kind of, but it does involve a serial killer. So guess what? We're talking about it. I'm all there. I'm there for M. Night's career. I'm grateful to document as much about his career on this podcast. For anyone that's interested on AKAPAD.com, I will include an M. Night Shyamalan page available in my hub section, and you guys can go right to them and just see all the episodes that I've discussed his films on. I don't know what else to say. I think if you go into this movie with the ability to have a good time, to be thrilled, and a little bit of a brain dump, but he's there to entertain us, and I thought this movie was entertaining as all hell, and I love the fairy hook. So go check out The Watchers, directed by M. Night, one of the modern day greats. Love you guys. Rock and roll. AKA Padders, thank you for joining me for another episode of the 31 Days of Dread. We have been dedicated to horror for a long time on this feed, on this podcast. If you guys want to know more about everything we do here, go to akapad.com. From there, you can navigate to the 31 Days of Dread. We have a dedicated landing page that goes through all the years of the 31 Days of Dread. And we also have a directory that jumps you to any movie that we've done. So you can just look up the movie by name. You can go to the directory. It's all alphabetical. And you can just explore. And that's the intent. And that's why we're so into the 31 Days of Dread, because no one's done this. No one has put this much time, this much thought and effort into American horror and international horror, and we love it. Horror is the future of American cinema. Horror right now is holding up American cinema, and I'm so thankful for it. So I'm hoping that you can extend yourself, explore, and continue the conversation. AKAPad.com. Thanks, guys.